Hello guys, and welcome to episode 3 of my Total War Warhammer 2 playthrough, playing as Khemri. Today we're going to be continuing with destroying the top knots once and for all. Griebit's Badax is the only person still alive, so we'll take out him soon enough. Then we will continue back the other way towards Zandri, where we will pick up the last settlement of the Land of the Dead. We also need to set up a commandment, so let's have a look at these commandments. We haven't had a good look at these yet, as I haven't had access to them. So the first one is worship of fact, I don't know how you say that, but there we go. That's minus 10% construction cost and tax rate plus 5%, that's pretty nice. Worship of Jaff, that is extra unit experience for all recruits and casualty replenishment rate plus 20%. We have worship of Zar, which is extra melee defense for local armies and ambush success chance plus 15%. Worship of Asfa, which is extra public order and untainted plus 5 public order. That's very nice indeed. And worship of Tra gives us extra campaign map movement range for own armies starting their turn in this province, and extra growth as well there. So I believe from the get-go the worship of Fact would probably be the best. However, the worship of Asfa is pretty good, and also the worship of Jaff would be very nice indeed to recruit unit ranks into Settra's army, since his army is basically non-existent right now. He's lost all of his units. We'll go for this setup anyway. Some skeleton spearmen with the skeleton archers there. I might even go for 2 skeleton archers first. And next turn what he can do is destroy Griebit's Badax, unless Griebit's Badax decides to attack us instead. So at Galbaraz we do have the open graves and the Bone Shaper building at Gorgazan. So that's going to basically leave us in the same place as we were at the Land of the Dead, which is good. This also gives us many more recruitment options for the skeleton chariots. Now it seems that the only downside of global recruitment for the Tomb Kings is that it takes a little while longer. So that's something. Like if I do that, yeah, it only takes 2 turns. That's crazy. And it still only takes 2 turns if I do it that way. I guess it's because the global and local recruitment queues are different. And that means you could replenish your forces very quickly indeed, but we have another skill point to spend on Settra. I am very tempted to go for Tra's incantation of Righteous Smiting to improve armor piercing missile damage and reload skill on ranged forces. The extra physical resistance is also very nice though. The Restless Dead, very important however. It resurrects dead combatants, greatly replenishes hit points of combatants, and heals injured before resurrecting whilst you're casting. So that is great. We have loads of missions to look at, so let's see if we can complete any of these. The Dynasty technology will complete on its own. Collecting the 9 books of Nagash is something that we're just doing as we go along. Construct a building that permits recruitment of more units. We're going to be completing in our new province. Obtain access to the following resources: iron. I believe we need a level 2 settlement to actually gain access to the iron mine, which gives us resource production of iron. So we're going to have to wait for that one to complete. What else do we have here? At the start of your turn, have at least 250 canopic jars. We can wait and get that done. Destroying the top knots will help out towards that, and we'll do that soon. We've just done the commandment, so that we'll complete that quest next turn. And craft any item or awaken a Legion of Legend via the Mortuary Cult. Now, I believe we can get access to the Flock of Jaff, which is Carrion. So these are flying war beasts, very similar to like Felbats, I believe. Although their melee attack and melee defense is extremely high. Armor piercing, very fast vanguard deployment, and death from above. They have bombardment ability. Wow. These guys would be very nice. But it might be worth just saving to the 250 to complete that quest, and then we can look at maybe even getting the Storm Riders of Azar first, which Requires 250 canopic jars, the golden idols, and iron, which we can get from both of our provinces already. Cool. Rights we are not concerned with. That is everything done for this turn. Let's move on to the next one. Now it's interesting that we've already reached the edge of the map here. This isn't something that would normally happen so quickly, but based on our starting position, has happened. So there we go. Mission successful. And mission issued to recruit a lord. Can we recruit a lord? I don't believe we can. We are maxed out currently on the number of lords. Settra the Imperishable is good to go and attack Rebit's Banak, so we'll go and do that. Goodbye to them. And that completes this quest. 2,000 from that. Thank you very much. Top not destroyed. Let's carry on down towards Gor Gazan. Now I'm a little bit worried about the public order here. Taxes is an issue. So if we sort of recruit some more units with the Worship of Jaff activated, maybe we can then change this to the Worship of Asfer to make sure that we don't get a rebellion here. So double skeleton spearman, skeleton archer is going to be the way to do it. And we will continue by giving him another point towards his spells. Canopic Jar Hoarder might be a good way to go though. Yeah, let's continue by doing that. And then what we'll do once we get towards level 10 is go towards the Unyielding Will and then get the Conqueror of the Past, which will give us the public order in all provinces, which is really nice indeed. Okay. Is that everything done again? I believe it might be, although having a look at our diplomacy and getting some trade going could be a good idea. Currently projected income though is only 14 from trading with Numas and 41 from trading with the Necrarch Brotherhood. Not really worth it in my opinion, especially when we might attack either. Let's end the turn. I think trading with people like across the seas would be a decent idea, so when we get a chance to get some agents, I think that might be a good shout to make them go and explore and try and find a place that we can trade with. A choice of servants. A Tomb Prince, Necrotect and Lich Priest enter your throne room and offer themselves in your service. So the Necrotect is the one that allows us to take over ruins at level 3, isn't it? It's funny how I was just talking about a hero and then one pops up though. Lich Priest I think we can avoid for now. Tomb Prince probably not. This imbues battlefield units with experience and increases public order in the campaign. The Lich Priest cleanses corruption and improves the rate at which you can research new dynasties. Necrotect improves construction of units' performance in battle, or constructs units' performance in battle, while also granting greater mobility and improved income in the campaign. I think that's definitely a better choice. So we have our Necrotect. He can boost income, constant local effect. Income generated by local buildings in the province by 5%. He can increase the mobility of the parent army. He can damage walls, wound and block armies as well. So quest issued. Construct one of each of the following buildings. Grave Port. Settra surveys the world around him and finds it wanting. All will submit to his rule. All will serve the Imperishable. The time has come for Settra to regain his crown, spirited away by tomb-defiling Northmen as he slept away the ages. The King of Kings will see his birthright returned. The land of the Northmen are far distant though, and a significant journey will be required. But first, wood must be hewn, timbers sealed, and a fleet constructed. Settra must put the Necrotects to work and construct a port capable of rebuilding his royal barge. So taking Zandri will be one step towards that, I believe. Let's upgrade one of our settlements. It looks like we can go towards the Mastaba at Khemri. But before we do, let's just jump into the building browser and see what we would benefit from doing. So at the salt plain we gain access to salt. But other than that, no benefits. Gaining access to a gold mine is definitely more beneficial, so upgrading Khemri, our capital, is going to be my first choice. Alright, Settra is done here, so he can continue to move on. We will change the worship of Jaff to the worship of Asfaf. And that will take us down to -2 public order per turn, which is a lot more manageable. It will then eventually be -1. And if at any point we get near rebellion, I can just turn off taxes, because I don't believe taxes are very high anyway, so that's another way that we can deal with public order, which is good. Right, now time to get some more chariots back into Settra's army. So we'll build those this turn and continue our way towards Zandri. Rahashen can join Settra for now. And that's actually completed our quest for extra canopic jars, because technically that counts as an action. I'm going to jump into the skill tree here. It's like there are some pretty cool buffs that he can give. So this is Stone Shaper, plus 10 armor and plus 10% missile resistance for allies around himself. Only affects constructs though. Seems like all of these, yeah, they only affect constructs, which is exactly what it said. This is pretty cool though. Inscription of Repair, casualty replenishment rate for construct units, and then increased unit capacity for Sepulchral Stalkers, Necropolis Knights with Halberds, unit capacity for Tomb Scorpions, Ashabtis. Very cool. Okay, so this is one way in which we can increase unit capacity. So we probably don't even need to have Rahashen in an army. I might just have him boost the income of a province and also become a canopic jar hoarder for us. But that will do for now. We may as well have him in the army. It's a good way to level him up. We have unlocked another right, which is the Great Incantation of Tra. So a unique Necrotect hero capable of colonizing ruins at level 3. This is the one that can actually do that. I think I'm going to perform this, because if Zandri is not occupied, then that would be a good way to do it. And would definitely save us a lot of time and money. So let's end the turn there. We have 2 Necrotechs already. One will probably stick around. I'm not sure if the other one disappears once it's done its job, but I'm guessing we'll find out. Wow. Follower gained. +2 public order for the local province. Very nice indeed. That will help us out with our public order for now. Let's move towards Zandri. It could be a Skaven settlement, but I'm not sure if it is. And honestly, if Settra doesn't need to go and take Zandri, it might be worth keeping him here ready to attack Numas. We'll get our last skeleton chariot, as they are very useful, and we'll grab a couple of skeleton archers, and then we'll fill up the army with skeleton spearmen. And that will be 20 units, I believe. That's good. Mortuary Cult, we're waiting for the Flock of Jaff, but I want to get 250 canopic jars first. Right, let's end the turn. It looks like we will have the option to upgrade our settlements in our second province in the next turn. So I'll definitely make sure to do that. We've encountered the Bowmen of Orion. But let's jump into the building browser at the Southern Badlands. I believe I probably want to upgrade Gorgazan first, because that will give me access to the iron sooner than later. Which is more beneficial than what Galvaraz can offer currently. So yeah, let's upgrade Gorgazan first. And we'll have Nefikir take Zandri for us. That did work, and it does use up the Necrotect. Okay, that's good. Well, either way, I'm quite happy to have my hands on a level 3 settlement. We can now get the Bone Wharf, which can then be upgraded to the Grave Port, which is part of our quest. So that's actually worked out very well indeed. Now the other thing that we will want to get is the defensive buildings. It's something that I've been building in all of my campaigns so far. But here we see the Pyramid King of Amenenem Hutem. I don't know if I've said that right, but that gives us extra public order and public order in the adjacent provinces. It gives us income from trade faction-wide and additional tradable resources faction-wide. It also generates 2 canopic jars per turn. And whether or not building that in Zandri is a good idea or not, I do not know. But it seems as though we can build those specific buildings in certain provinces. So yeah, definitely having that in Zandri is probably a good idea, but we don't have 15,000. That's the question. Well, that's the problem. So I'm in a bit of a predicament here, because getting the Desert Lookout is necessary, but then I don't want to miss out on using the level 3 settlement to upgrade and gain access to units we haven't seen already. Like the Charnel Plaza can just wait. I think getting the Desert Lookout is important. In the second slot, maybe the Potter's Hut for now. And then we can change it to the Pyramid King of Amenem Hutem later on. I'm not sure. Either way, we're going to go and upgrade to the Brassworks here at Khemri. And I'm also going to build the Quicksand Swamp to give us access to Skeleton Horsemen. Actually, building the Brassworks to get Skeleton Archer Chariots is probably not a priority right now. But getting the gold mine most certainly is, since it improves our income by 150. So that's what I'm going to do instead, and upgrading to the Funerary District could also be a good shout. Or even just building the Charnel Plaza at Zandri. It's a lot cheaper. We could probably do both, honestly. And the commandment is available in the Land of the Dead. So getting the plus 5% tax rate would only give us like 20 more income. So that's kind of pointless. The other thing we could do though is maybe enact the commandment and then build everything next turn. Because that would save us 10% on every single building, which is quite a lot of cash, honestly. See, I think I'll just wait, actually, now that we have that commandment available. Right, meanwhile, Settra's army is looking pretty beastly. I'm tempted to go for that combination instead, because skeleton archers during a siege I think will be a lot more useful. let's end the turn. So we did just get population surplus in the Land of the Dead as well. But whether or not we can use that to upgrade or not, I am unsure. Because I'm not sure about our cash at the moment. But mission successful, ensure that one of the following buildings have been constructed. Either the Khemri mausoleum or a mausoleum. That gave us 1,015 canopic jars, so that's good. Right unlocked, the Great Incantation of Tahoth. Now we have a mission issued to search any ruined settlement for treasure. Alright, now we have the commandment activated anyway. We can go ahead and upgrade this to the funerary district. We can build the charnel plaza here. We can get the quicksand swamp and build up the gold mine. And that's going to cost us a lot less than it would have in the previous turn. Upgrading the crypts here at the salt plain. Probably a good idea. Take that to a mastaba. We've almost finished the one at Gorgazan as well. Okay. Now since we have a full army here, I'm very tempted to attack and take out Numas. As sort of getting rid of any sort of people behind us before we move to the west is probably a good idea. Like taking out all the eastern factions, like the Necrarch Brotherhood and Numas here is probably a nice idea. Although it seems as though, was it Bagar was taken from the Necrarch Brotherhood? Let's have a look at their strength.
It is night.
I feel like they would be a lot easier to take on than Numas. Maybe Numas could just become an ally of mine. Choices to make. Choices. And we're going to move Settra down towards the Springs of Eternal Life. I might be able to attack and take that. Because if they are mostly zombie armies, then they'll actually be very easy to destroy. Let's go ahead and end the turn. The other thing about attacking the Necrarch Brotherhood was it was something that was mentioned at the very start of the campaign during the introduction, saying that they would be a target soon after destroying the Top Knots. And we killed the Top Knots relatively quickly. So we have a mission issue to sign a non-aggression pact with Numas. So maybe doing that to just get the canopic jars and the cash would be a decent idea. But I don't think they're going to allow me to, since our relations are very bad indeed. Okay, entombed beneath the sands. Looks like a sort of ambush stance, almost. Actually, no, it's a separate stance entirely. What is this? Campaign map movement range required to adopt is 50%. Enables replenishment and access to the global recruitment pool. Ah, okay. So it's sort of like the Beastman encampment. More than anything else. Well, that's cool. Maybe we sort of move 50% then. And adopt that stance. Then next turn we might be able to attack the Springs of Eternal Life. And I was correct to assume that a lot of those units are going to be zombies, so that's good for us indeed. Jump into the Entombed Beneath the Sands. And yeah, being able to recruit in enemy territory is going to be extremely useful in the future. At Gorgazan here, I think we might end up needing the public order building, the obelisk. Just to sort out the public order. But the reason I upgraded Gorgazan was to gain access to the iron mine, so we're going to do that first to complete our quest. Because we still have loads of these to do. Let's end the turn. Now, for the first time in a long time, I'm in a Warhammer 2 campaign where I'm not at war with anyone. I'm sure that is set to change, and I'll probably jinx myself. But definitely something to note. On the Conqueror's Eternal Service, we have made a great discovery. During the course of our excavations, remains of the army that once served Al-Khadizar the Conqueror, the last and maybe the greatest of all the priest kings of Nehekhara, have been unearthed. It would take but a little magic to raise them to our service, should we do so, or give them a ritual burial in the classical Nehekharan style. So we can give them a burial, which gives us extra leadership for all infantry units and extra casualty replenishment rate for 10 turns, or we can get the 40 canopic jars. I think I'm going to go for the 40 canopic jars just because I don't think that leadership has really been a big problem just yet. And we're going up against the vampires who suffer from low leadership themselves, so that's fine. In terms of our quest, that should surely complete a quest to have 250 canopic jars at the start of the turn. But I guess that's at the start of the turn anyway, so we'd have to wait until next turn to make use of that. But we've unlocked Assyrian's Legion of the Netherworld here, Nehekhara warriors. So we can awaken those next turn maybe. But more than that, we'll be able to actually awaken the Storm Riders of Zar once we get the iron from our second province. We can't quite get the Venom Knights of Asaph, but the Storm Riders of Zar are probably very good themselves anyway, so yeah, that's cool. Let's go ahead and attack the Springs of Eternal Life. And like I mentioned, it's mostly zombies. They don't have any ranged forces, so our skeleton archers are going to do a hell of a lot of work. Let's quick save it and fight it on the battle map. So this has the potential to be the last settlement of the Necrarch Brotherhood, because I'm pretty sure that the Wood Elves were attacking them. Right, let's gamble for more wins. We are playing around a choke point, which is probably beneficial to us, actually. I thought there would be walls, but obviously the settlement was not high enough in ranks to have walls. This could be quite difficult for our chariots, but not for our Khemri and War Sphinx, and that's pretty much all that matters. Our Khemri and War Sphinx have been winning us so many battles. Right, we're going to move up like so. Have our skeleton archers roll up behind them. Let's take them out of that group. I didn't mean to put them in there in the first place. Looks like they're shifting more to the right, so I'm going to bring Settra over there. And we'll bring our Necrotac to the left. And of course, chariots just need to move forwards a little bit. We'll move forwards these Tomb Guard. Speed things up. I'm just hoping that I can sort of catch them in the chokes. Because if I can, that will work out very well indeed. Getting our Khemri and War Sphinx here to engage them sooner than later is pretty damn important. Because we could hold down a lot of that army there. Looks like on this side we're just going to have to spread out. And, well, we're just going to try and shoot down these Fellbats, I think, with my archers. Okay, we've met our match here. That's good. Get my Khemri and Warsphinx to charge on over. Those Fellbats shouldn't really last too long. Gonna make sure that each one of my skeleton warriors is targeting some of them. Oh, that annihilated those Fellbats. Very nice. I'm going to charge my chariots into the melee on this left side. And maybe we can break through there and come into the back of the melee on the right. Let's buff some of our skeleton spearmen here though. We'll use the incantation of vengeance on these units as well. And we're going to get Settra to go run into that engagement now. Oh, look at the amount of damage he's doing. I mean, I kind of expect this to lag because of the amount that's going on, but holy moly. It's incredible. I love it. Right, we need to get Settra in there. These guys can just keep shooting down those Fellbats. Right, we've destroyed them on this left side, which is good. So I'm just going to have the infantry on this side move over to the right side, just sort of back up that front line. We'll move our skeleton archers over there as well. Alright, we just need his charge animation to like go off. Right, chariots are nearly in position. Those Fellbats are dead. That's what we like to see. Let's go and get these Tomb Guard with halberds into that melee. And we need to keep buffing our units on the front line. Oh, this is just going to be insane. The chariots lining up and ready to go. Just charging into this mass is probably not the best idea, but it's gonna look epic. Time to go. We've got loads of archer fire coming down now. We need to get a Necrotect into the battle as well here. Here we go. Oh, it's going to be crazy. They're all just going to completely disintegrate. Oh, look at that. The damage is just insane. I want to zoom in on it, but I mean, it's just so much going on.
Settra the Imperishable.
Really done a fantastic job with this battle, I feel. Settra's also in the middle of the engagement there as well, so he can blow people up. Any units that are dealing with this, I'm going to hit with a spell so that their leadership completely disappears. And that crumbled that zombie unit pretty much instantly. That was insane. We're going to break off with the chariots, but I'm pretty sure that their army is crumbling across the board. Yep. Job done. Wow. What an insane battle that was. Having the choke point here was just insane. Their leader is doomed. Speed it up and watch him die. Decisive victory. That was just such an epic battle. Very much enjoyed that. And, well, by the looks of things, we didn't really stand a chance of losing with only 262 losses. They lost over 3,000 men. They are obviously mainly zombies, but still. It's a lot of dudes.
There was never any doubt.
No, there wasn't, Settra. No, there wasn't.
Sack it for Settra.
So we're going to occupy it.
Gods bow to me.
And we got the gold sigil sword for Settra. And the Necrarch Brotherhood have been destroyed. We also completed that quest, which gave us 3,000. So now it's just a matter really of probably destroying the open graves here and building the public order building, and then focusing on Numas and taking them out and securing that province. So in one fell swoop we destroyed the Necrarch Brotherhood, which was one of our main objectives from the start of the campaign. But unfortunately guys, that has been my time. We are in a very good position going forwards. But that's all. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.